Today we're getting into the latest Tesla news, including Tesla locking features behind a paywall, new Cybertruck UI leaks and launch numbers, Tesla's next growth wave, and more, so let's get into it. First up today, the biggest question for future Tesla manufacturing is often, where will their next factory be? It's a big question for Tesla as local sourcing makes a big difference in cost. Right now, Giga Texas has been announced but is on hold, but reports are saying that Tesla is closing in on a $2 billion deal to build a factory in India. Tesla has been back and forth on this front for a while, but India is reportedly set to lower import tariffs for brands who will be investing there. Now, Bloomberg is saying, quote, India is closing in on an agreement with Tesla Inc. that would allow the US automaker to ship its electric cars to the country from next year and set up a factory within 2 years, according to people familiar with the Indian government's thinking. Tesla's deal would be a $2 billion investment in a factory and commitment to buy $15 billion in parts from Indian suppliers. Tesla is also considering a battery factory there, which makes sense in the long term. The batteries to power these cars have to scale up as well. As always, take it with a grain of salt until Tesla announces something, but this would be big for Tesla's future. Next up today, the latest Cybertruck updates, including leaked UI, how many Tesla plans to release at launch, Tesla putting them on display at retail stores, and more. Last week, we reported that Tesla was prepared to sue any new Cybertruck owners that sold their truck in the first year of ownership. They had added a clause in their standard motor vehicle purchase agreement, specifically mentioning Cybertruck owners, that they would sue for $50,000 or more if the profit was greater. They did say that some exceptions would be considered, but that they held the first right of refusal. Now, after a lot of backlash, the section labeled for Cybertruck only isn't there anymore. The agreement is pretty much back to the same as it was before, with the remaining clauses mostly applying to dealerships. The purpose of adding the clause was most likely to prevent scalpers, who would likely slow down Tesla actually getting vehicles to customers who want to keep them. With a vehicle like the Cybertruck that will eventually be mass-produced, that hopefully won't be too much of an issue, even without this clause, but we'll have to see. I wouldn't be surprised if a new form of this that is more refined shows up right before order holders take delivery. In the meantime, another Cybertruck has been spotted carrying what looks to be a Christmas tree, and this one's even bigger than the last one. You can't really tell from these photos, but it doesn't look like it's strapped down. Depending on how large this tree is, it does speak to the size of this bed, especially with the tailgate down. We also got a good look at the bed lighting on this truck. These light strips do a really great job making this truck look futuristic, and it truly doesn't look like any other truck on the market. It's also simply useful to see how bright these are ahead of this truck's release. Over at the beach, a Cybertruck was spotted driving and plowing through some water, showing that Tesla really is testing out all the major truck scenarios here. It does a great job as expected, but truly would have been quite the scene if they did get stuck. As for production, we're still seeing plenty of dirty Cybertrucks outside Giga Texas, just 15 days from the delivery event. Some of these are definitely still testing, but it was pointed out that one of them has what looks like a standard inventory tag on the windshield. This one does still have some mud and dust all over it though, so it very likely will not end up going to a customer. Tesla has begun displaying Cybertrucks at multiple retail locations around the country in anticipation of first deliveries in a little over a week. Here is one on display at a Tesla store in San Diego. This is at the UTC Mall, and a few people were able to get some great photos. Reportedly, this is VIN 1200 for this truck. Tesla has definitely been making and testing a ton of these. These are cool to see, but of course match all other prototypes, so the real insight came with Tesla's official sign in front of the truck on display. This says, designed to be the world's toughest truck. It confirms some features like adaptive air suspension, shatter-resistant glass, not bulletproof, and then a 2,500-pound payload capacity and 11,000-pound towing capacity. Funny enough, they actually spelled exoskeleton wrong on this promo poster. There's another one on display in New York, one in Long Beach, and another in San Jose. Worth noting that these are there on display, but no one is able to actually get inside of the truck. A couple weeks ago, Cybertruck specs leaked, including dimensions and towing capacity, and these specs on the poster match exactly. So we can be pretty sure everything we saw here is confirmed down to the NEMA 1450 outlet in this truck, and the weight of the truck sitting just under 7,000 pounds. At this point, we're used to seeing bad or alright photos of the Cybertruck, but some really great ones finally leaked. It's unclear where these originated, but there's a really great shot of the interior that shows off the main interface and Cybertruck logo steering wheel. A great zoom into the controls on screen shows the Cyber UI design and shows what controls will look like for things like the tonneau cover and suspension. These are things that are coming for the first time in the Cybertruck, at least on this level. It's currently set to medium, then there's options for high, low, and entry. From there, it's normal Tesla controls, just in this cyber design. The seats are definitely perforated for cooling, and the front trunk is shallow but has the Cyberpunk Cybertruck logo inside of it. Here's a cool photo of the side with the mirrors and huge windshield wiper. The launch of this truck is finally approaching, and there have been various rumors as to how many Tesla will deliver or how they will go about it. Most customers are hoping that Tesla has already shipped Cybertrucks around the country to various service centers in order to deliver them in many locations all at once, and that they will announce everything about it on November 30th. However, the latest details say that Tesla will only be releasing 10 trucks on launch day. This comes from Javier Verdura, a Tesla director, who said they're going to deliver the first 10 Cybertrucks on November 30th. This falls in line with previous events like the Plaid delivery event, where they delivered 25 Plaids to customers and then waited a while to do more. Another event where they delivered first cars was the Cyber Rodeo. At that event, they delivered first made in Texas 4680 Model Ys and managed to deliver them quietly in an unannounced number to employees only without saying anything about the specs of that car. They said made in Texas deliveries begin now, but in practice basically just drove them across the stage. Because of this, I'm expecting a little bit of this type of launch with the Cybertruck. If they only deliver 10 on day one, it's likely a cool event, but will probably be missing a number of details. They better announce that range though. Lastly, the interesting thing to consider with all of the Cybertruck hype is that many Tesla fans and viewers think that everyone is anticipating this truck, whether it be positive or negative. However, The Rock was just on Joe Rogan's podcast and truly had never seen this truck before. He also asked if Tesla has an SUV. Just a reminder that people are busy. Tesla fans can live in a bubble, and Tesla advertising could be useful even just for general awareness like this. Next up today, Tesla has always been at the forefront of pushing new technologies in cars, especially on the software side. They were one of the first to offer paid software upgrades. When this came on the side of features like an upgraded autopilot functionality in FSD, it made and continues to make sense. I still find those upgrades not to be worth the cost, especially since enhanced autopilot doesn't even actually deliver a number of its promised features since Tesla removed USS sensors, but that's besides the point. In the case of an autopilot upgrade, your car has an FSD computer and cameras that contribute to the normal safety features in the car, your backup and side cameras, and more. So it makes sense that a software upgrade takes those things you're already using and gets more out of them. However, it's a bit of a different story when there is hardware included in your car that is software locked, and Tesla appears to be heading in this direction once again. Back in 2020, rear heated seats were included with all Model 3 vehicles, except they weren't a standard feature of the Standard Range or Standard Range Plus Model 3. They were there but turned off. Then Tesla offered a paid upgrade for $300 that would software unlock this feature. It's one of those weird things where this being locked out allows Tesla to make a cheaper trim of this vehicle, but at the same time the hardware is right there. It was the exact same cost for Tesla regardless. This lasted for some time, but since then has disappeared. All trims come with heated front and rear seats. The main software upgrades offered at various times include FSD upgrades and an acceleration boost. Again, this takes the existing motors in a Model Y and unlocks their full potential for $2,000. So this exists, but soon may be coming for more standard features. Features we're used to today may soon become a paid software upgrade in future iterations, according to Tesla hacker Green, who is known for uncovering upcoming features in Tesla's software. He has discovered that heated seats, including the front, and heated wipers could potentially be placed behind a paywall soon. This is back to what Tesla did in 2020, but adding in heated wipers as another software-locked feature. The wipers are heated, but soon only if you pay extra after taking delivery of your base Tesla. Many would definitely argue that a vehicle priced just under $40,000 should have heated seats included by default. I tend to agree, especially since the hardware is right there in the car regardless, but it looks like they're paywalling this again for 2024 base models. This time they appear to be locking both front and rear heated seats. I imagine you'll be able to pay to upgrade each as their own cost, or pay to upgrade them all as a bundle. Of course, this is only expected on the Model 3 and Y, as this would be pretty ridiculous on their flagship vehicles. We do need to keep in mind that this was leaked from Tesla's code. It might not actually be something they push, but considering they've done this in the past, I wouldn't be surprised if we do see this come in the near future. I know a lot of people would be disappointed if they did start charging for these features, which again comes standard on many other similarly priced cars. With that said, it is becoming more of a standard practice from other brands. BMW has plans to charge a monthly subscription for heated seats. Mercedes lets you unlock faster acceleration as a subscription. The difference there, though, to me, is that Tesla's paywall is at least a one-time purchase. You buy the car at its price and then pay for another software unlock to get its full potential. In a sense, you can price that in advance. A subscription to temporarily rent the privilege to use the seats in your car you bought top dollar for is a bit different, at least to me. What do you think, though? Does it make sense for Tesla to limit features for their most affordable cars by placing them behind paywalls, or should they just include these features by default? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Next up today, Tesla has warned their investors that they're currently in between growth waves, which could potentially affect their guided 50% growth rate. In the last 10 years, Tesla has experienced some impressive growth. In that time, they've gone from startup to market dominator. They make the most popular vehicle in the world now and have a capacity to produce about 2 million new vehicles each year. Because of their success, they have a lot of credibility when it comes to their future growth predictions. That included a plan to grow at a pace of about 50% per year. Typically, that could be a realistic goal for a tech startup, but it would be questioned for an established company like Tesla. But Tesla is known for achieving things that didn't seem possible. The Model Y becoming the best-selling car in the world, and so quickly was one of those. Now, though, they're doubling back on that 50% growth prediction. During a recent investor conference, Tesla investor Gary Black reported Tesla's announcement. According to Black, quote, Tesla bulls should reduce their expectations that Tesla volumes can grow at plus 50% per year. I am at plus 37% volume growth in 2023 and 37% growth in 2024. He then quotes Martin Viecha, Tesla's head of investor relations, saying Tesla is now in an intermediate low growth period. Viecha replied to Black's post with clarification though. Quote, what I said specifically is that we're between two major growth waves. The first driven by 3 and Y platforms since 2017, and the next one that will be driven by the next gen vehicle. That 50% growth rate is a long-term goal, translating to an annual production capacity of 20 million vehicles by 2030. Of course, this rate is going to vary from year to year, depending on a variety of factors. With the Model Y already being the best-selling car in the world, there's only so much more room to grow until they enter a new vehicle class. The Cybertruck will bring some growth, but they aren't planning to scale its production anywhere near that of the Model Y. If or when Tesla releases their $25,000 EV, though, that's surely going to boost growth at an impressive rate until that vehicle also becomes a bestseller. It seemed like that car was first going to be produced in Nuevo Leon, Mexico, but that factory is at a standstill right now. It's also been rumored that Tesla is thinking about opening a factory in India, which would be a prime location to manufacture this vehicle. With no clear plans having been announced yet and likely a lot of delays, we may be in between growth periods, just like he said. Next up today, in the general EV world, battery prices are going down faster than expected, which is great news. At the end of the day, the main cost consideration for EVs is their batteries. When prices go up, like we saw in the last couple years, car prices go up as a result. So affordable EVs can only come with affordable batteries. According to Goldman Sachs, quote, research now expects battery prices to fall to $99 per kilowatt hour of storage capacity by 2025, a 40% decrease from 2022. The previous forecast was for a 33% decline. Our analysts estimate that almost half of the decline will come from declining prices of EV raw materials such as lithium, nickel, and cobalt. Battery pack prices are now expected to fall by an average of 11% per year from 2023 to 2030. They charted their price forecasts coming up and expect a big fall to come next year. One thing worth noting is that they are looking at the pack level rather than the cell level, which leaves quite a bit of variation between brands. All in all, this is great news and should be exciting for the next few years of EVs though. Last up today, some updates from other automakers. VW says that they will not be scaling back in the US, and they plan to release an EV under $35,000 to compete with Tesla. They made this announcement at the Reuters Events Mobile Automotive USA 2023 conference and said they aim for it to come out in the next 3 to 4 years here. On top of that, they're going to source the vehicle's battery pack locally so it will qualify for the $7,500 US tax incentive. At the same time, though, they've had to pause EV production at their plant in Germany due to a shortage of electric motors. This comes after halting production in Dresden back in September, which was likely to cut costs. This new production pause will impact the Audi Q4 e-tron, ID4, and ID5, but not the ID3 or Cupra Born. Rising interest rates as well as Tesla's price cuts are still causing trouble for VW. Even though their deliveries rose 45% in the first 9 months of the year, new orders in Europe were down 50% from last year. Hopefully this is a temporary downturn and won't impact their plans for that new affordable EV. That's all the latest Tesla news for today, so in the meantime, if you want to see what I wish I knew before I bought my Model Y or Model 3, you can check out that video linked up here or in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.